Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Katherine Kelly. I want to bring a little bit of information to you about closure and how important that is to our soul's health and our soul's evolution. The human condition is a messy thing. We get mucked up a lot by what happens in our human condition, whether it's relationships, whether it's life events, whether it's tragic situations, whether it is situations that come with strange weather and weather events and natural disasters, whatever it might be. We have a lot of wounding that happens at a soul level. And so when I talk about closure, it's one of those things that I think is key and necessary for us to work through in order for our soul to not only free itself from the wounds that might be residually laying there, or also that it's really helping us move into our next phase of our evolution. So I call myself Closure Queen. And for decades, I have had this pattern at the end of every year of literally going through old journals and looking at what I went through that year, what I processed that year. And one of the things I've done for, again, years is gone through that journal and basically paged through it and ripped out only the pages that I felt like I still needed to work on. And then I would burn and release the rest of it. Because out of truth, if we have really worked through what we're supposed to work through, we don't need that stuff laying around. So that is one way that I make closure at the end of the year. And I would strongly encourage thinking about that for you because it's just dead energy laying around in those journals if you've already worked through those kinds of things. So that's one way to make closure. Another way that I encourage people to make closure is to really think about, is there anything I need to clear out or clear the slate with or make closure with for the relationships that I've either had in past parts of my life or in current parts of my life. So a lot of times we can't make closure with someone who basically to them they're incapable of doing that. They're incapable of having a real relationship kind of conversation with you, or maybe you don't have contact with that person anymore. And yet it is still very, very, very important for us to make closure, because if there's residual, unfinished kinds of business, if there are things we haven't said, if there's things that are questioning that we're confused about, it means that there's something undone. There's something that needs some closure in order for us to move beyond that. So one thing that I encourage people to do is sit down and write a soul to soul letter to those individuals. And you're not going to send it, they're not going to receive it, because if they're not capable of actually helping you process or helping you or meeting you in that place where they can make that closure with you, well, then you have to do it in a different way. And it doesn't mean you have to wait until they are able to do it. It means you can go ahead and do your own soul's work as you process through that. So I encourage people to write them a soul to soul letter. Write a letter explaining and saying everything you wish you would have said. And I tell people, go at it, like dig through every single event, every single memory that you have that has some unfinished words or some unsaid kinds of things, and say it on paper as if, wow, if I could go back and say what I wanted to at the time, or what I now know I should have said, this is what I would have said. And there's an energy about it that cleans out whatever that residual wound is, so that it cleans the slate. And I encourage people to take some blank paper, write till you can't write anymore, put it away. More is going to come up. Take that paper back out, write more to that person, and keep doing that until you don't feel like there's anything left that is new that is coming out of you. So it's really, if there's something new that's being generated that you have to add to that paper, yeah, there's more to clean out. But if you feel like, okay, you've pretty much said everything you feel like you need to, you're done. And what I encourage people to do at that point is find a way to burn those papers, because if you shred it, the energy is still there. But there's something very powerful and ritualistic about burning those pages to help you release the energy behind those relationships that have been left unsaid or left undone. So that's another way of finishing out some things. I'm also a huge believer, and I do this every year, is I go through every drawer, I go through every closet, I go through every piece of clothing, and I just do a quick flip and get rid of stuff that no longer serves me. So I get rid of things that really the energy behind them is weighing me down. So I've had relationships in the past where I got a gift from them, or I, even had a piece of clothing from them, or a piece of clothing that reminded me of the time that I was with them. Sometimes it's an event in my life. Sometimes it could be anything. But if we have something that we constantly have a negative energetic nudge from when we see that piece of clothing or that article of, art or whatever it is, then you have to decide, is it worth keeping that? And to me, I'm a clean out person. So I clean stuff out that no longer fits where the energy of who I am is at that moment. So that closure queen part of me, I think it's just a very important part to remember that your soul gets weighed down. It's like sandbags. It's like energy that is stuck over you. It's layers of things. The human condition that if we keep remembering something and keep going back to something and keep wondering why something happened or keep wondering why, why that happened the way it did or why I didn't say what I should have said, you have to clean that out because energetically it's still laying on you. Now, a lot of people like to put things in little boxes and not think about them any ever again. Problem is, those boxes come tumbling out at some point, and if you have enough of them that come tumbling out, you're overwhelmed. So it's very important to do this maintenance cleaning along the way. And I encourage people at the end of the year to take these last couple months and really do that internal cleaning, the external cleaning, to remove things that don't serve you anymore, and just to purge it, to get it beyond you. Now, there have been times when I have taken boxes of stuff at the end of year or bags of stuff to Goodwill or to Habitat for Humanity or whoever it is. And I've just really done these very big purges. But really, and also those are the times when I'm going through the biggest transformations where I'm just ready to really shift and clear. But really, at the end of every year, to me, it is so important to go ahead and do that process, even if it's only a few things you end up getting rid of because it's still that cleaning out process and it's that ritual of renewal and ritual of bringing yourself full circle to being able to start the new year with as clean of a slate as possible. Now, we're humans. We all have stuff. We all have layers. And so sometimes we don't have the bandwidth or we don't have basically the energy to get through all of it, but do the layers that you feel like you can right now so that, again, you're a little bit lighter, at least by the start of the year. So this is just a nudge to help you realize that cleaning those things out, whether it's emotional or physical or both, it's really an important part of your soul's evolution because otherwise we are weighed down and that is not the most natural state of our soul. The most natural state of our soul is light and energy and vibrance and radiance, and if we are weighed down by things that are just really kind of getting in the way, we got to get rid of them. So take that to heart, take that to soul, see what it is that you can do to purge, release, make closure, finish unfinished business by the end of the year, and see if that helps you kind of feel lighter by the first of the year. Hope that helps. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.